Now I want to work on my two doors. I'm just going to focus on one because this is going to be a component that I reproduce. So if I look at a reference photo of a door that I want to emulate, um, I'm not going to go this nuts with the molding or the paneling, and I also don't need to download a specific paneling for this. This is going to be something that I can just recreate visually. So I really want to focus more on just kind of the rhythm of this. So let's start by making a door. So with my tape measure tool, I'm just going to pull in 1.75 a little bit into the model here. Okay, so a rectangle to get that started. Make that into a group right away. Open it up, pull it all the way up until I get to the top. And notice I get nice and close to reference that. So we've got a 7-foot door. Okay. I'm just going to do a tape line from the floor 36 up that's going to reference just about where I want my doorknob to be. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels here. The first panels are going to be kind of separated right around the doorknob. So let's make that space in there. Let's go with, let's try 5 inches and see how that looks. So starting from the middle line, I'll go 2.5 up and 2.5 down. Notice I didn't actually get it to go down, so I'll undo that, and I'll just type again, bringing it down and getting into a view where I can see it a little better, 2.5. So that's going to be the center point of those panels. Use the offset tool to offset the face of this door in, and let's offset this 6. Or let's do 5.5, because that's a little bit, it looks a little bit better at 5.5. All right, then I'm going to find my center point here, and I'm going to make the separation in between these 2 and 2. So that's going to give me 10.5. So I'm going to this first top square here is going to be 10.5. So again, I'm going to now come down from the top 10.5. So that's my first panel right there. So I can use a rectangle to start defining that. I want to maintain this same distance here. So this is 5, so I'm going to come down again another 5. And use my rectangle tool to start separating that paneling bit. I want to have a little bit larger space at the bottom because I want this to have a little bit of a kick. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to take this line and bring it up 2 inches. Then a rectangle to finish that off. Now I'm just going to delete the pieces I don't want. So I don't want this line or this line or this line or that line. Now I can push one in. Let's push this in 3/4, so it's pretty obvious. So since I've done one, whoops, it's going to double click it out. So since I've done one, I can now just reference by pull by clicking once and then just touching that first, or any of the adjacent ones that are already pulled in. Okay, so now I'm going to delete my guides. So Shift D, Edit, Delete. So the guides are gone. In this case, I'm just going to make a really quick shape, a really quick profile. I'm not even going to measure it. I just want this to be visual. So I'm going to make this into a group, open it up, and then I'm going to use my my free-form drawing tool here to just draw a quick little profile. And we'll smooth it out relatively once I make this into a shape. So now I'm deleting everything except for what I want. So all I want is this profile here. So we've got 1, 2, 3 different panels. So we need to do this 3 times. So I'm going to copy this down and then copy this up into this point. Then I'm just going to trace with a rectangle, and I'm not grouping these, the outside of this panel. I'm going to delete the face of all of those and select by double clicking, select by double clicking on each one of these. So I'm holding Shift down and double clicking on the paths. Now I'm pulling them out into space along the green. So I've got 3 paths and 3 little pieces of molding that need to follow those paths. Let's explode each one of those little pieces now. And then we're getting pretty used to this at this point. So I'm going to double click this shape, activate follow me, or the path I should say, activate follow me, and then click on the shape. It's going to create that little interior molding piece. Now I can triple click on that, right click and reverse the faces, and also G to make it a group. I want this to be a group inside of this group, which we'll get to in a second. Let's do that again. That's already exploded, so that's good. So let's select the path. Whoops, click out here. Double click on this path, activate follow me, click once on that face. Triple click on it, right click, reverse faces, G to group it, and move on to the next one. Double click on this path, activate push pull, and then follow me. Okay, then I'm going to triple click, right click, reverse the faces, and group it. Now I don't need these paths anymore. So delete, delete, delete. Probably not necessary to make these into components because the chances of me ultimately changing them, not so high. So I'm just going to select the three of them and copy them over into that point. Now I will select all of the interior panel pieces and the door and group it. Then I will right click and make it a component. So whichever way I decide to one day, if I edit this and I need to go and edit it on the other door, I can. Let's check out the plan and see which way they swing. So I'm going to pull up my plan layer by opening up my layers window and turning the plan on. So they both swing. So one swings. Let's go ahead and get down a little closer to see this. Okay, so if I'm looking at this door, it's swinging this way. If I'm looking at the other door, it's swinging the opposite way. So let me go ahead and come back here, and just for a graphic reference, because I'll put a doorknob in later when I get more detailed, I'm going to pull up a guide, again 36, and I'm just going to give myself a little circle here. That's going to represent where the doorknob eventually goes. Let's go ahead and delete this. And they swing out, so that means I can push them back to the back of that jamb so that there's a little bit more of a casing here. Go ahead and copy this over into this opening. Click. And then I will get over to this side here and let me go ahead and flip it along. So I will flip along. So I'm right clicking on it and I'm going to flip along and I'm going to try green first. Of course, I always get it wrong. So let me undo that and then flip along. This time it's going to be components red. And that's just moving the doorknob to this side. That way when this door opens up, it'll swing out that way. Okay. Okay, so the doors are done. I don't expect you to get as detailed as I did in a door if you don't want to. Just go ahead and, this video is really mostly to show you how to build something like this from scratch. If you want to go ahead and put in your own door, if you find a component that you like, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to be as on top of it. But if you want to, by all means, go ahead. It's definitely great practice, and it's always good to know because there will definitely be shapes and objects out there that you will someday need to reproduce.